On today's show, I have Howard Gripp, a Wisconsin-based artist who is now embracing Christian rock music. We talk about how this happened, what that life-changing moment was that made him change direction, I would say, and also another life-changing moment that inspired him to write a song that then had a huge impact on others, as well as his take on Christian music and how that fits in today's world. Let's dive straight into the episode. Hey, Resetters, thanks for joining us on another guest episode. It's going to be a first for me, and I'm very excited to kind of cover that topic a little bit too, because it's always good to hear, other people's points of views and just have a friendly conversation about things that we might not know enough about or we just haven't thought about. So I'm really, really happy to have Howard here today. And I'm just going to say hello from a very hot Melbourne day to a little bit of a snowy scenery where you are. Isn't that right?
Yep, it's about 32 and a little snow on the ground.
Nice. Just in
It's not.
time for Christmas.
Yep.
Now, I'm really glad you're here today, Hal, because it's obvious it's a topic I haven't touched on yet, and I'm so glad you've got in touch. Um, Because I'm just curious, and I'm sure my audience is also curious about your journey and how you ended up where you are today and are playing and writing and recording and sharing and, whatever else the words they are, Christian rock music, which is,
Yep.
if I'm not totally misinformed, has become pretty popular lately. You hear a lot about, these concerts that are being put up, and if you listen to it, it's really sort of good, entertaining music with a message. So I thought, yes, let's talk about it. So I'm glad you're here. But first, I'd love to hear a little bit about your journey. How did you end up where you are right now? How did that change happen?
Well, I've played in rock bands or secular duos for basically my whole life. I did the bar scene and I cut a CD when I was younger, and that's just kind of where my roots were. I mean, I was raised in a church with my mom, and I was introduced to Jesus there, but I was still a kid, and when I was 16, I really wanted to do the rock and roll thing, so that's what I was going to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried really hard to do it. I went out the road and found myself living in my car for a little while, and but then I met a woman. We got married pretty young. We had kids pretty young, so I was trying to juggle the dream that I had with the
Yeah.
marriage and the kids, and made a lot of bad decisions along the way. And I lived the true rock and roll lifestyle, which you should probably do when you're single. uh,
Might not be a bad
and
idea.
if I knew then what I know now, right? No, so
Yeah.
eventually it led to a divorce. I got divorced, and I had some. I don't know. I want to say I was estranged from my boys, but we had a pretty rough time after the divorce. And then life just got really hard. I mean, I battled depression a lot. I just decided I didn't want to be here anymore.
Oh.
I was gonna wake up one morning and I was gonna drive my truck really fast into something really hard. It's a Sunday morning, and I ended up in this church parking lot, and that's where I went in and thought, well, I suppose I better go in and get right with God before I go take
Mm-hmm.
you know take my life, because that's what I was gonna do. As I was asking God to have my family forgive me for what I was gonna do and all the other things that I did, something just changed, and I started asking God to come into my life, and to save me from what I was going to do and make things better. And I got saved in that church that day, and man, he literally saved my life,
Wow.
and I ended up walking out of that church and driving back home. And, you know, I don't know how how much you know about religion and stuff, but when you get saved, or because everything just immediately changes and life is so much different. And
Mm-hmm.
well, it changed, but it wasn't an immediate thing for me, because I was still going through the divorce,
Mm-hmm.
and it kind of went way down before it came up, Uh,
Right.
but I got divorced and still playing secular music. I couldn't stop playing it. And I got remarried to a woman that was strong in her faith, and she got me going back to church. And that's when I saw the first Christian worship band on stage, which, you're talking about Christian rock music and the different styles that it is now. It was like, wow, these guys are playing rock music in church. This is pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Uh-huh.
So it kind of gave me a little buzz, and we ended up joining a church here about 3 years ago, and I joined the worship team there. So now I was playing that and still doing secular music. But then about a year and a half ago, I really felt God telling me to do something different with my music, and He wanted
Mhm.
me to do it for Him. And so I've got two secular gigs left, and then I'm done with secular music, and all I'm going to do is Christian music. And the journey I've been on for the last year and 3 months has been insane.
Mm.
Just change that I've made. So that's kind
Yeah.
of position.
Wow. That's, I mean, first of all, I want to say I'm glad you're still here. You
Yeah, me
know,
too.
I'm really glad you're still here. But it just shows that sometimes we just hit, I don't want to say a literal wall, but you just don't know where to go and what to
Yep.
do. And I don't think, and I hope no one really wants to take their own life because they want to. It's just that they're kind of driven to that point. So yeah, I'm really glad you didn't do it.
Yeah, me
And
too.
that something was there that helped you, wanting to stay alive.
Yep.
And obviously, if that's God, that's amazing. And now being involved in making music as well. I mean, that's, almost the icing on the top, isn't it? That you can still do what you love, but is that with like a higher meaning for you now that you do it, the Christian
Yeah, I
music?
mean and when I felt him telling me to do something with my music and really going for it like I'm doing, it was like I'm too old for this. I'm not 25 anymore. But you know, he just started opening doors, and I kept
Hmm.
walking through them. I
Mm.
my original I took a songwriting course from a Christian songwriting course from a guy out of Nashville, John Chisholm,
Hmm.
and he taught me how to write because Christian music is different than secular music and how you
Hmm.
write it. You
Okay.
know, it's like all your worship songs are very repetitive. Easy melodies so people can sing back with you. And I like all that, but I still have the rock roots in me, right? So
Yeah.
I don't I don't quite write that way. I write rock Christian music. I write it just like I would write a rock song,
Hmm.
but I write it now with my life's experiences to hopefully help people that are going through something I went through, or going through something I've gone through with my family, or just life
Hmm.
situations in general. So you probably won't hear many of my songs being sung in a church, like, which I'm 100% fine with,
Uh-huh.
that I don't want to change everything, because God gave me that gift too, right?
Yeah.
So I don't want to change everything that I've done my whole life
Mm.
stylistically,
Hmm.
you know, try to try to fit into a mold, because
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So
So from what I understand, obviously you have gone through really sort of life-changing situation. You found your faith, you believe. How do you think music can help people do something similar? Like how can it help them navigate through like really tough times? And that's kind of individual to everyone what tough is for them, but we all have
yeah,
it. How do you think
yeah.
music, and especially the music you're now writing, can help maybe ease the pain or give them a bit more direction? How do you think that music can do that?
I think music in general
Hmm.
is the most powerful thing that we have. I really do. I mean, it can move you to tears. It can remind you of something years ago.
Hmm.
You can
True.
you can lean on it when you are feeling desperate. You
Hmm.
can, you know, it's so powerful. And I think every one of us at some point leans on music. I mean, you may not realize it, but you do, because I'm sad. I'm driving in the car and this song's going to make me cry a little bit. Well, That's an emotion that you're pulling from that song. It's
Mhm.
either bringing you in more clarity in whatever you're going through, or it's helping you get through a situation. I think in the songs that I write, I like to think of it this way. Somebody that is not a Christian or doesn't listen to Christian music would turn one of my songs on and they go, "Oh yeah, it's got a good beat, it's got a little rocking going on. Hang on a second, I think he said Jesus in there. Oh wait, I think he said it again." So they're going, "Wait a minute, this is Christian music," and
Mhm.
and then I think one of two things happens, right? They either listen more intensely or they turn it off, right? And if they
Mm.
listen, you know, I think they can really get a lot out of, not just my music, uh, but music in general. I mean, if as long as the songs are heartfelt and they're written about somebody's life, true life experiences, I think everybody can get something out of any song.
Mhm. Yes. Yeah. I think it's that connection that we make with a song and the artist who wrote it that can help us with whatever it is, the sadness, the happiness, anything, any emotion. So yeah. And being able to do that in a way that's done well. So like you said, you've taken obviously courses or whatever in songwriting, then the chances are you will definitely have an impact on someone's life, you know? So yeah,
That's actually
great.
happened.
Has
Yeah,
that
very
share
cool.
the story, please? It's all about this. If you want to share that story, please go ahead.
One of my first two songs I wrote, I have a son that battles addiction. Actually, I had two sons that battle addiction. One beat it, but the other one still struggles with it.
Okay.
And I got a call one Sunday morning that he was in the ER and he wasn't going to make it. He had
Ooh.
overdosed on fentanyl and he had 100% kidney failure and he wasn't going to make it. And I was like 8 hours away. And I didn't think I was going to make it back before he passed,
Mm-hmm.
but I did. And I prayed all the way and I got there and they said she's not going to make it. My ex-wife was there. And so we're trying to gather ourselves, trying to figure out, what can we do? Well, obviously I just kept praying.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it was a miracle to me because he came out of it. He's alive. His kidneys are 100% restored. And that can only be a miracle to me. So
Mm-hmm.
the second wrote was about a child battling addiction from a parent's point of view, and it really revolved around that whole story.
Yeah.
So I was going to go down to Nashville in the last November and cut two songs, and then I was going to be done, right? That's all I was going to do. And I stopped at this place I had looked up. I was looking for places to play Christian music, right? And this place, about 4.5 hours from here, plays it on Friday night. And I thought, well, driving to Nashville, it's just a little out of the way. We'll stop by and
Mm-hmm.
we'll see what's going on there. Maybe I can get a gig there, right? And then we'll go on to Nashville and it'll all be good. And I stop and we listen, and the guy running it, I started talking to him a little bit about this open mic he had to kind of try out, and he goes, "Oh, I'm using my iPod to play music on the break here, but write your name down and we'll either talk later or I'll get a hold of you." So
Mm-hmm.
I write my name down, I hand it back to him, and he goes, "I keep in mind, I've never met this guy. I've never talked to anybody from this place. I just found it on Facebook and went." And I write my name down and hand it to him, and he goes, "Howard Gripp." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "You got a song on Spotify called When I Pray?" I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "I play that song every day. I've played it for multiple pastors that are in this room right now, people that are in this room. I battled addiction for many, many years, and I never ever thought about how it affected my parents." He said, "So I live by this song now." And he ended up having me going up and playing the song that night for the people that were there. And that was amazing because who knew? you know, it was just a whim that we stopped by there on the way down.
Uh-huh.
So it
Wow.
has,
Wow. That's amazing. I love that.
yeah,
How it obviously was meant to be that, I feel like it was meant to be you had to be there and meet this person. I don't know. It
yeah,
just feels like that, doesn't it? To
yeah,
get that feedback and then off you go to record another few
yeah,
songs after that.
yeah.
Oh,
It was,
wow. And are you still in touch with this person or are you sort of?
Yeah, I actually go play there about once every 2 months. They have me
Oh,
back all
so
the time.
it's
Yeah,
like a that's
yeah,
brilliant.
they do. Yeah, they do music every Friday night. Like it
Oh,
says, 4.5 hours away, but yeah, I do it every couple of months.
oh wow,
Yeah,
that's really good. I mean, who something like that came out of it.
yeah, yeah. It's pretty wild.
Yeah. And I bet he was really excited to be able to tell you because obviously that song kind of changed his life and then be able to tell
Yeah,
you that as well must have been really good for him.
yeah, yeah. And he went up and well, so two girls were playing, and he came walking over me and said, "Hey, do you have your guitar with you?" I said, "Well, yeah, I'm going to Nashville. It's kind of a requirement." And he goes, "I talked to the girls on stage, and they said they would stop early if you'd play that song for me." I said, "Yeah, I can play that for you." And then he got up and he gave his whole testimony about being an addict and how he beat it and
Wow.
everything. And then I went up and played, and then we booked a couple gigs.
Wow. That's incredible. I love hearing stories like this because that's just that there is the power of music in itself. Wow. Wow.
Yep, that's why I do it.
Yeah, I bet that really gave you like another level of motivation and inspiration to keep going, didn't it?
Oh, yeah, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely. Now I'm curious. What do you think Christian music, what kind of role do you think it plays in the world these days, especially for those people who might feel a bit hopeless or don't have any kind of form of connection? Do you think, it could be a really, even if you're, let's say you're not believing or you're not have your faith, do you think Christian music can still be there for you?
I absolutely do. I
Mm,
mean, you can you can listen to music any way you want to listen to music, right?
mm-hmm,
You might just like the song. It might not be speaking to you like the artist is trying to speak to you. You might
mm-hmm,
just like the song, you know?
mm-hmm,
But I feel that eventually if you like the song, you're going to want to learn more about the song,
mm-hmm,
or you're going to pay more attention to the words. And then if the words make a little sense or you get curious, now you're going to want to find out about the artist. And then hopefully you go find podcasts that the artist has done and you hear kind of
mm-hmm,
what they've gone through and what their motivation is. Or you just like the song, you
mm-hmm.
know?
I mean, whichever way, as long as it helps and it gives you something, I would say job done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, where to from here? What are your plans moving on now? I think you're recording an EP. Is that correct? If I have that
Yep. I
right?
recorded. Well, my intention was to record two songs and be done.
Mm-hmm.
Then I met John Chisholm when I was down in Nashville doing those two songs. We went out for lunch and he had an artist development program that he had, and that's kind of when I'm going. I'm too old to do this, but I'm doing it now.
Mm-hmm.
And he got me to do that. It was an 8 week course. I got some good marketing help. I did some co-writes with some people, got some voice lessons, um, and I ended up cutting an EP with him in April. And that
Wow.
EP released the final last song on the EP just released November 8th. So the EP is fully out now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I did a I went to Nashville in May and did something called The Objective, where there was a whole bunch of musicians came together and you get to sit in this panel in front of this panel of like 10, 12, 14 people. I got to play in front of them and this full restaurant that we were in. So that was quite an experience. And then I entered a contest called You God's Music. And I started with 340 people, and I ended up in one of the top five. And we got to go to San Antonio and play at the Tobin Center for a sold out crowd of 1,800 people. Jeremy Camp was a headliner, so that's really why they were there. But the five of us got to perform. Um, so that was wild. And
Mm-hmm.
then I created my first music video, my first professional music video. Uh, that also came out on November 8th, which is the song I did in San Antonio called "Hello, It's Me." So that just released. The EP just released. November 2nd, I had a EP release party, concert at my church. Flew some guys up from Nashville, and did that. Keep in mind, I was only going to cut those two songs, and that was going to be it.
And how
And
many did you
now
end up with now?
I did a 6 song EP. The two
Oh,
that I first did 6 song EP.
yep.
I'm going back to the studio in January, back in Nashville to do another EP. And I'm starting to try to book some festivals for next year.
So you're touring. Wow.
I'm going to try to, if I can line some stuff up, yeah.
Amazing stuff. Well, you're never too old.
Right?
Isn't that what
You're
you
never too
said
old.
earlier on?
My motto. You're never too old or too young to do anything.
There you go. And I think you're living proof of that too. Well, anyone that's interested, obviously the EP is out, another one coming. Exciting news for next year, maybe a tour. So it all sounds really exciting. Yeah, I mean, I love this conversation because I'm being very honest. I've not really listened to a lot of Christian music, although it has appeared on my radar now and then. But I have to say, the songs that I have listened to, and as you said earlier on, some of them you wouldn't realize they're actually Christian songs, and they're really, really good. You know, they're really good, and they have this really good positive message in them. And I think that's kind of what the world needs a little bit more of, positivity. We just don't have that a lot right now.
Yep.
And I also feel that, let's just be a bit more open-minded and don't judge so quickly. I think
Right.
that's one thing that really annoys me so badly at the moment. We just jump to conclusions and form our opinions so quickly. So
Yeah.
that's why I really wanted to have you on the show so we can kind of say, all right, folks, let's go and tune into more Christian music and check it out.
That won't hurt you.
It won't. No, no, no. That just shows you're open-minded and you're happy to explore because there's so many different genres of music out there anyway.
Yeah.
It's another one of those. So, you know.
Yep. I mean, there's Christian rap music out there. There's Christian country music out there, and
Yep.
if you didn't know it had Christian in front of it, you probably never even know.
Exactly, exactly. If you wouldn't tell people it was Christian music, they'd probably really, really love it.
Yeah.
Just
Yep.
because there's this one word in front of it,
Yep.
people are a
Yep.
bit,
Yep.
I would say.
Yep.
Now, is there anything or like not anything, one thing I want to say that you really want to get across to people about your music, about yourself, anything that you feel is important that you just want to kind of get off your chest and you feel is very, very important for people to know, to figure out, to think about, anything. Floor's yours.
Well, I think the biggest thing is for everyone to be open
Mhm.
to any kind of music. I mean, and don't just because, just like what we just talked, just because the word Christian is in front of it
Mhm.
doesn't make it bad or, you know, stay away or,
Yeah.
it's, it's, I'm trying to write music that is a positive message for people that can help them. I mean,
Mhm.
so
Yep.
I just love people just to be open to
Yeah.
listening to it, whether you have faith or you don't,
Mhm.
because you never know.
Yeah.
You never know what might knock on the door. You don't know. And, you know, it changed my life. And I
Mhm.
can speak from my experience. It
Mhm.
saved my life. That's what I believe.
Mhm.
You know, just be open to listening to any of it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's such an important message. I truly believe. I feel the world itself. Let's leave religion out of it, but I just feel human beings have really closed themselves up,
Yeah.
and we should be able to have conversations like you and I just had without any prejudice
Yeah.
or, you know, because at the end of the day, we talk about music here, and music is a universal language, and it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't matter what genre it is. So
Yep.
yes, I 100% agree with you. So, anyone that's here today, I'll give you some homework. Go and check out Howard's music and let us know what you think. Um, and yeah, we would love to hear what your impression is. What did you think? What did you feel when you first heard it? So, you never know.
Never know.
You never know.
Might just like the song.
You might just like the song. Exactly. Happened to me. I didn't know it was a Christian song and I like it. And I think, it's on my Spotify playlist. So there you go. All right. Well, thank you, Howard, for sharing, your story. And again, I'm very grateful you're still here and doing what you do because you're having a positive impact in the world, as we also heard during the episode. And I'm very excited for what's to come in 2025 for you. I'll sure be keeping an eye out and see what's going on. Um, and to you, B-siders, as I said, openness is probably the word that covers this episode, and I hope you enjoyed it. Let us know. And otherwise, thanks for tuning in. And I'm sending you much music and love as always. Until next time, you all take care. Bye for now. Bye bye.
Yeah.